This podcast deals with themes, languages, and situations that may not be suitable for young audiences. If you're under the age of 18, parental guidance isn't going to help you here.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, welcome to Now Open the Podcast, the sex education podcast that's more sex than education. My name's Drew, and I am happy to be back.
My name is Jobim, and I'm also happy that I am back and that you guys are here. So saying hi to Sai and Maya, early birds. Welcome back yourself. This week, we're redefining what's natural and what isn't in sex with a little help from our furry friends. And don't worry, this part isn't about furries. This is part one of Masahol Hayop, Sex and Nature, where we'll talk about non-monogamy and homosexuality in the wild. If you're listening live and like what you hear, you can join the discussion by leaving a comment below. And if we have time, we'll get to them as the show goes on. Now, on to the discussion.
So before we talk about how monogamy or non-monogamy shows up in the animal kingdom, let's talk about how it shows up for our particular species creature thing. So typically humans are monogamous. I'd say most humans today are monogamous. Our
I mean,
culture,
we tried on the surface. Yeah, supposedly.
Supposedly.
I mean, have you seen TikTok lately? They're full of just like cheaters getting caught. I mean, so supposedly, yeah, we're monogamous.
Or at least we strive for the quote unquote ideal of monogamy.
Right. We subscribe to that idea.
Yes. But of course, there are tons of people who don't. Although I think it's a very, very small minority. I'd say probably, uh, actually, no, I wouldn't say it's fewer than queer people because I feel like a lot of people are actually doing non monogamous things. They're just not either copping to it because it's cheating or
Right.
because they don't realize it's non-monogamy.
Right.
Like threesomes are technically non-monogamy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not monogamy, that's for sure.
But I mean, like, people, I think the main point is that human beings get married, that kind of thing. And like human beings willingly like declare to the world that we are going to stick to,
Try.
we don't make the conscious decision to try to stick with one person. We declare it to the world. We make a ceremony about it. We get people dressed up and we say, hey, come over and listen to us say that we're going to do this thing forever. We're only going to fuck this one person forever. Come here and listen to us say that out loud. So I
So
guess that,
let's see how it works with the animal kingdom. So there's like different types of monogamy. What we think of as monogamy in our society, where it's you have a partner and then that's the partner for the rest of your life.
mhm.
That's one type of monogamy, but there's also sexual monogamy where you only have sex with only one mate at a time. Then there's social monogamy where animals form pairs to mate and they raise offspring. So they have like a domestic partner, but then they also have flings or extra, not marital affairs or extra pair copulations
Okay.
on the side. So there's a type of monogamy where you only have sex with one mate at a time, but there's also another type of monogamy that actually allows for sexual variance. It's monogamy just in the sense that you only have one partner that you mate and raise children with.
So it's like co-parenting.
Yes, co-parenting, you have you also likely have a relationship, a sexual relationship, but you're also forming other sexual relationships with other entities. So, of the roughly
Ah.
5,000 species of mammals, only 3 to 5% are known to form lifelong pair bonds. This includes beavers, otters, wolves, some bats and foxes, and a few hoofed animals.
3 to 5%. That is a staggeringly tiny number, right?
Right?
We are in the minority here. We are clearly in the minority of all the living mammals, right? You said mammals.
Of the,
Of the
yes,
roughly
of all of the
5,000
mammals.
species of mammals, there's only this tiny amount that are monogamous. It kind of makes you think, huh? Why are people so up in arms about trying to make everybody monogamous? We have Mark Clayton who says there are no laws made by the government animals must abide by. I am single because as long as I must choose one partner, I will not choose and remain single. There you go.
Yeah.
Uh,
So even the creatures of these of the 3 to 5% of mammals that do form lifelong bonds, they also sort of have flings on the side, or it's not lifelong monogamy. For example, wolves will immediately search for a new mate if their old mate dies or can no longer sexually
that's
perform.
cold. That's cold, man.
It's cold,
No
isn't
grieving
it?
period for wolves. Just she was good to me. What's your name?
But
Beautiful.
so what we can see really is that sexual monogamy is really rare in the wild. It's more often than not you won't see it. And from a
Okay.
biological perspective, like men and women aren't also designed to be in lifelong monogamous unions.
What do
And I
you
guess
mean?
the kind of monogamy that we do practice also isn't
Mhm.
lifelong, it's also serial monogamy. You know, most
When you think
people
about it,
date.
when you think about it, I mean, it. Now that we're discussing it, right? It seems to me that monogamy for humans is more of a social convenience than anything else. right? It serves to divide property evenly. The law can protect you because your union is recognized by the law, right?
Well, the reason why monogamy even took such a strong hold over our culture is because it had a purpose. So
Hmm.
monogamy started out with agriculture, because when you have agriculture, you have property. You know, you actually own things. Now you're not just picking things up and moving one place to
Right.
another. You have a
You have ownership.
legacy, right?
Hmm.
You have ownership. And now you start to worry about whether or not your children are biologically yours, because you have limited resources. You want to leave it to children that you know are yours. And of course, they didn't have paternity tests and all that jazz
Hmm.
back in the day. So they decided, the best way to ensure that my children, only my children, my real children will get my property, is if we commit to not having sex with anybody else.
Right.
Right.
That's the
But
only way.
that's the only way. But
That's the only
because
way.
of how human bodies work, right? If you have a penis, um, well, no, if you have a uterus, it's pretty obvious that the child is yours.
Right. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no
You know
question.
for sure that the
There's no
child is
question
yours.
about who's the mother in this situation, right? But there's always the question of paternity. So monogamy, the way that it was set up to safeguard male property, it also allowed for non-monogamy on the male's part. because
How
to
so? How
him
did that work?
because to him it's like, well, there's no question, like, any children I have with other women are not entitled to this property, or there's no necessary, it's not necessary for the man to stay monogamous. It has to be the woman, because she's the one who bears the children.
Okay.
So
Because they can go
yeah.
sow their wild oats. Right.
Yes. So, social and sexual monogamy, which is what humans try to practice, you have one sexual mate and one, like, domestic partner. So, this being intertwined, it's
Hmm.
really a culturally constructed idea. And
Hmm.
when you look at the animal kingdom, you look at all the other mammals, you do not see this type of setup. It's not very common to see this. So I guess monogamy, like true monogamy and the kind of monogamy that we practice, it's a huge outlier
Hmm.
compared
But I mean,
to
like, look at some of the animals that do practice lifelong monogamy. Horses. Did you say foxes, wolves? What are some of the other animals that you mentioned? Of?
otters. Otters are
Otters.
super cute, right? They're the
Yeah,
ones that
they
like hold
hold
hands
hands.
in
Right.
those so they don't float away.
So
Adorable.
these animals are also animals that that we know for sure have complex emotions and are capable of processing complex social structures. Uh, they have a lot of social practices. So I guess the more social you get, also the more having a bond, having a lifelong bond with someone is becomes meaningful. Maybe not a monogamous bond necessarily, but having a lifelong bond with somebody becomes more meaningful and more rewarding. Uh, there you go. Uh, wait, do we have any? Yes, we do. Before we get back to the discussion tonight, here is the newsstand. How do you pronounce this guy's name? Leodi? Lodi.
DOD.
Leodi de Guzman and Walden Bello are running on a platform of, among many other things, the decriminalization of abortion, the legalization of divorce, and same sex marriage. Uh, if we believe in equality among people, I think it's time to legalize same sex marriage and divorce so everyone can enjoy the benefits and rights of being married, de Guzman said in Filipino. On abortion, he said, I think this is good for women who will achieve the sense of autonomy to make a choice with their own life and body. There are many situations that necessitate abortion. I also think that they could consult their doctors about this without the fear of danger and imprisonment. So this is good news. What do you think? I think this is
So
a
when
great
I
platform to run on.
I mean, honestly, it's so rare to find a candidate in Philippine politics with such a
Mhm.
clear
Yes.
and very honest and much needed platform. Like, I never thought I would see somebody running on the platform of decriminalizing abortion
Yeah.
anytime soon.
I mean, I don't think
So,
they're going to win, realistically speaking. I want them to win. I don't think they're going to, but I think it's great that somebody is blazing a trail for the future because it starts here. They may not win this time, but the fact that somebody has done it will inspire somebody to do it in the future. And it's not going to be going to be as scary anymore.
well, every advancement is a victory.
Hmm.
And I really hope that more mainstream candidates take a look at these platforms, see the reaction that they're getting from the people, and realize that not only are we need these policies, but they're also winnable platforms because like if you listen to the people, this is like what the people have been asking for a really long time.
So
So
hopefully
I'm
the
just
people make their
happy.
voices heard. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
So that was the newsstand. Now sitting down. Now on to the show. Okay. In history, we've discussed homosexual behavior so much, but I think
Mainly
we
mine.
mostly just yeah, mainly yours and our very gay guests, but mostly we've been discussing modern homosexuality. But history, homosexual behavior was often ignored because it supposedly contradicted Darwin's theory of evolution. But evidence suggests recent evidence suggests homosexual behavior could play important roles in reproduction and evolution. Okay, even in nature, dude. Same-sex behavior ranging from co-parenting to sex has been observed in over 1,000 species, with likely many more as researchers begin to look for the behavior explicitly. Homosexuality is widespread, with bisexuality even more prevalent. Is it prevalent? Prevalent. I say
Honestly,
prevalent sometimes. I say okay, more prevalent across species. A list of animals that practice homosexuality. Okay, what do you think are gay ass animals, dude? What sound
mm,
when you think of gay animals? What comes to mind?
I think dolphins are pretty gay.
Yes, yes, yes. Very good. Dolphins, super gay. Both female and male dolphin, bottlenose dolphins display homosexual behavior, including oral action. Right, this is the best. Just next time you see like cute dolphins, that dolphin's probably fucking blown someone. All right. They display homosexual behavior, including oral action, where one dolphin stimulates the others with its snout. In the bottlenose world, homosexual activity occurs with about the same frequency as heterosexual play. It's 50-50 with dolphins, man.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason you always see dolphin tattoos everywhere in gay bars. It's because dolphins are the gayest animals ever. Uh, Giraffes also super gay. Among giraffes, there's more same sex than opposite sex activity. Did you know that? They're more gay than straight. In fact, studies say gay sex accounts for more than 90% of all observed sexual activity in giraffes.
Wait, so only 10% of that is
Is straight sex.
straight
Most giraffes
sex.
are, yeah.
How are they
Hey.
still alive?
You
How
know
do
they're
they
still
still
alive.
have numbers?
You ever seen a baby giraffe get born? They're born and they
No,
just like run.
I
They're born ready
really
to go. That's how they survive. Is because they're not dumb babies for very long. They're like born more or less adults. So lions. Okay, lions also. Sorry if this changes the way you watch The Lion King, but 2 to 4 males often form what is known as a coalition. Super macho sounding, where they work together to court female lions. They depend on each other to fend off other coalitions, and to ensure loyalty, male lions strengthen their bonds by having sex with each other. Bro, you
You know
ready to
what? I
go?
feel like we could learn a thing or two from lions.
You ready to go pick up some chicks tonight? Yeah. Ready for the pre-sex? Let's do it, dude. Come on, get behind me. Get behind me, bro. Let's go.
I
Oh, I
mean,
love
Joe
lions.
Bim, what
Mhm.
better wingman than someone who's already had sex with you? You would
I
know
know, yeah.
this.
Dude, you're gonna love having sex with this guy. His dick great. Feels super good in your mouth. I know. I'm a lion.
Right, honest,
Bisons.
detailed review.
Yeah, an honest to God review. You know I'm telling the truth, girl. I'm a lion. All right. So I'm not lying. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for that one. Okay. Bisons, also super gay. Homosexual activity between male bisons is more common than heterosexual copulation. Bison's also super gay. That's because female bisons only mate with bulls about once a year, and the rest of the year, the bulls are just like, well, what am I supposed to do? And so they just decided to put their heads together and put their heads together. During mating season, males get the urge. They get the urge engage in same-sex activities several times a day. Just becomes Brokeback Mountain up in there, but with bisons instead of sheep. Macaques, both female and male macaques engage in same sex activity, but while males usually only do so for a night, females form intense bonds with each other and are usually monogamous. In some macaque populations, homosexual behavior among females is not only common, but the norm. Bonobos, Trisha's favorite. Bonobos are considered the closest living relative to humans. Okay, and this is like DNA wise, even. And they are known for seeking sexual pleasure. These guys are just the pleasure seekers of the primate world. The hedonists there. That's the word I'm looking for. These are the hedonists of the primate world. They copulate frequently, including with the same sex. And they do so for pleasure, but also to bond with each other, climb the social ladder, and reduce tension. About 2/3 of homosexual activities happen among females.
Aren't
And
bonobos and chimps the same animal, basically,
mm,
except their cultures are different?
no, they're. I think
Was
they're a
it
different
chimps?
thing
Or was it
altogether.
but I think it's like bonobos and like another type of.
There are several types of chimpanzees, and I think a bonobo is a type of chimpanzee.
Ah.
Yeah, there you go. Although don't quote me on that. I'm not a zoologist. I do not know these things. Okay, so I just watch a lot of nature documentaries. This is the last one, and nobody is surprised to hear this, but swans are super gay. They are monogamous and stick with one partner for years. Many of them choose a same-sex partner. In fact, around 20% of swan couples are homosexuals, and they often start families together. Sometimes one swan in a male couple will mate with a female and then drive her away once she's laid a clutch of eggs. In other cases, they adopt abandoned eggs.
So they're basically just like using other swans as
As a
surrogates
surrogate, they're just like the
and
meanest
then
gay couple
shoot.
ever. You're done having our baby. Get out. Okay, so wow, that was
Okay, so
educational.
I did a little bit of research on the
Hmm.
bonobos.
Hmm.
So the major difference between bonobos and chimpanzees is that in bonobo society, females are in charge.
Okay.
So, but they're like very biologically similar. They just have different culture.
You want more fun facts about bonobos? You want to save that for later?
Uh, let's give one fun fact about bonobo now.
Uh, okay, no, they're long. They're all long. Let's save them for later. Okay. Well, that's it for part one of Masahol Pasahayop, Sex and Nature. Make sure to stay tuned for part two, where we talk about gender roles, pregnancy, menstruation, and specific animals and their crazy sex behaviors in the animal kingdom. Do not go anywhere.
We knew there was no other way. We knew what we had to face, but it still hurt when it happened. I thought my emotions would dampen, but I still don't know where it all went wrong. I must have lost it along the way, the smile you gave me. If I'd known that you would love me only until here, I would have held it dear. Oh, my memory betrays me. The touch of your skin just won't escape me. If I'd known that you'd be gone, I wouldn't have held on. Maybe this would be easier, but
That was How Can I Forget by Erin Lee. After the release of her debut EP, Paper Flowers, singer songwriter Erin Lee has never let her style of vocal harmony and instrumentation keep her within the confines of a single genre. Using her creativity and versatility as a self taught producer to branch out into the OPM even further, she is one of the faces that make up two of her other side projects, namely acoustic duo CJ and Aaron and Lily Stars Records indie folk duo Lily on the River. You can stream her music now on Spotify. And if you want to be featured on the show, we'd be honored. Send your clips to nowopenph@gmail.com and we'd love to feature you.
All right, welcome back to Now Open the Podcast, the sex education podcast that's more sex than education.
My
My name
name's
is
Drew.
Jobim. There you go. 2 for 1. This week, we're looking up some of the sexual behaviors and relationships that make humans go, is that normal? Surprise. The answer is all around us. This is part 2 of Masahol Hayop, Sex in Nature, where we'll talk about gender roles, pregnancy, and menstruation in the animal kingdom.
All right. So gender roles are a huge topic of contention in our society. I feel like the last 10 years have seen some really big changes to how we expect women and men to relate to each other.
Yeah. I was just watching a video the other day on how, like, Mr. Mom, we've come such a long way from Mr. Mom. You know that movie?
What was Mr.
It sounds weird to listen to today, but the premise is it's a guy who works all the time and he has to take all the responsibilities of being the housewife for a while. And in the 80s, that was the idea for a comedy. That was it. That was the fish out of water movie. And I think it was Michael Keaton. It starred Michael Keaton as Mr. Mom, and he was like a working guy who now has to be the mom of the house. And it was in the vein of like Mrs. Doubtfire and stuff like that. And today that wouldn't even be, that's like normal. So many dads do that today, but that was a hit movie back in the 80s. And you're right, we have come. So I mean, gender roles are still super is ever evolving in human society today.
Yeah, and like you notice how the gender roles really draw a line, like in the differences between the sexes. Like it's not just, yeah, we have slightly different machinery going on. It's also there are certain activities that only one sex can do. There are certain activities that the other sex is just naturally better at.
Right.
And like there's just that really strict line where I feel like most of our society is kind of built around that line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, categorizing and the way we've structured the household, the way we've structured the workplace is very
if you don't believe it,
hostile.
just go to the grocery store and try to shop for toiletries. You know, that's the clearest one of the clearest places you can see it.
Exactly. So, 2 criteria substantiate gender. So there's socially determined roles, or like, you know, like the roles you're expected to play because of your gender and your gender identity. So does this appear in the animal world? Yeah, there's like plenty of species, plenty of animals that show sex-based differences in behavior. Right. So like, you know, you think about all the people who say like that's unnatural, right? Because there are animals that you can point to that show sex differences in animals that like reinforce this idea that maybe humans also have to have this. So let's see.
The first thing that comes to my mind when you say that is the lions, right? Everybody knows that the female lions are the ones that go hunt, while the male lion waits for them to come back, right? So that's the one. That's the common one I think that pops into everyone's mind. What else? What other animals follow gender roles?
So I know it's very weird to kind of lump both of these in the same thing, but beetles and gorillas.
Oh yeah, natural. Go hand in hand, beetles and gorillas.
Buddies, right there. So males of these species tend to be more aggressive than females, and they fight with one another for resources and for access to mating opportunities. So it sounds very familiar. But like also what's a kind of like different from our world is that males tend to be the more flamboyant sex generally. So
that's true.
With most animals, like the males are the ones who use their body and their behaviors to attract females. For example, the peacock's tail, like the beautiful peacock's tail, that's the male peacock actually that's strutting for the females. Females have less ornate, less colorful tails. The mockingbird's elaborate mating song or the colorful face of the mandrill, like Rafiki from The Lion King. Those are all signs of like just a male trying to attract a mate. But in our
Right. I think
society, it's the women who tend to put on the.
right. Yeah, that's weird, huh? Because in the animal kingdom, the males are the ones vying for the opportunity to pass on their genes, right? And the only way they can do that is through the female. So they have to have all these elaborate displays. They have to prove that they're superior. But because of the social constructs that we have created as humans, tends to be the other way around now a lot now.
Well, one thing that is very similar is that both in humans, with human species and non-human species, is that females do tend to be, in most cases, more nurturing of offspring compared to the males. After all, by the time the infant is born, the female would have already devoted significant time towards the forming, the care, the protecting, incubating, or in the case of mammals, then she's gone through an intense process of gestation, and pregnancy and delivering that creature. So there's already that immediate bond between the
Mhm.
female and the offspring. So that's why uh, females do tend to be more nurturing. But even though there are a lot of similarities between how we built our society and these species, there are also plenty of examples where we kind of go the other way, and there are so many exceptions to these socially determined rules. So one of my more favorite examples of animals just going fuck you gender is male seahorses can get pregnant when there are no female seahorses around.
Yep, that is true.
So
So wait,
like,
no, wait, no. Can they get pregnant with their new female seahorses around?
yeah,
Is that true? Really?
yeah, male seahorses can get pregnant.
I thought that male seahorses just carried the eggs, like the females would they just get them from the females. That's what I
Wait, let
know.
me.
They just carry the eggs
Ah. Yeah.
because
So
the
like,
female seahorses have a penis like ovipositor. They have a penis that deposit it's they have a pseudo penis that deposits their eggs into the male, so they need females still.
yeah, they do need females, but it is the male seahorses who do get pregnant.
Yeah, they carry the egg.
Um, and then there's also like differences in biology or in body. So female spotted hyenas are very dominant. They're kind of like
Oh yeah.
they're the mommies. The step on me mommies of the hyena world. And they sport a pseudo penis, or basically an enlarged clitoris, that is capable of erection and can be as much as 90% the size of a male's penis. So they're
Man.
pretty close.
It's intimidating.
Imagine
I
if we
just,
all women walked around with a strap on. That's just basically what hyenas.
that's what hyenas are dealing with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
they're dealing with. And the northern jacana. I'm gonna say. I hope that's how we
Hakana.
pronounce
I want to say
it.
Hakana
Jacana.
because it's from Panama to Mexico. I'm assuming that's a
Fair
soft
enough.
J.
So it's a wading bird species whose common territory ranges from Panama to Mexico. They have females that patrol a territory full of males and fight off invading females, while the smaller males engage in less territorial behavior than females, instead spending that time caring for a nest full of the resident female's eggs. So in this case, it's the females who are aggressive and trying to swat off the other pygmies, it's the males who care for the offspring
All right.
and need to be protected
Way to
from the
go,
onslaught of
Hakanas.
vagina.
All right. So those are the animals that subscribe to and that give the middle finger to gender roles in animal society. Time to move on to today's opening up. And for today's opening up, we have an anonymous letter. They write, "How can I ask if I'm doing a good job on the guy? Didn't like how he sound, bedroom voice when he answered, but I'll take what I can get, I guess." What? I
So
didn't
I
understand
think
any of that. Did you understand what this person is trying to ask?
I think what they're trying to ask is that how do they confirm that they're pleasing their partner? Because they're not really getting a lot of feedback during the actual act. That's my
I,
guess.
I didn't like how he sound bedroom voice when he answered, but I'll take what I can get, I guess. He answered with his bedroom voice. Ooh, boy. Okay, Trisha. How do you ask? How do you, if you want to know that your partner is enjoying whatever it is you're doing in bed, how do you ask them to let you know? Because for
Um
me, as a guy, it's awkward for me to say, "Hey, can you make a little bit more noise? Can you moan a little bit more when I'm going down on you to let me know that you're enjoying this?"
I think what I like to do is I like to code it in a compliment, Like I like it when you give me feedback. I
Mm,
like it when you make noises when I'm going
right.
down on you because like you're stroking their ego a little bit, you're making them feel good.
Mhm. But
Um and you're giving them the opportunity to give you pleasure.
but then they're not really telling you that they're enjoying it. They're just doing what you've asked them to do now, right?
That is true. So I guess what I like to do is if I can't get feedback during the actual act, although I prefer it because I would like
Mhm.
to know while it's happening so I can change something if it's not going
Right,
great,
on the fly, right, right, right.
right? On the
But
fly.
if you can't get communication on the fly, then afterwards you pull out the form, you hand it to them, and you say you tick these
You submit
boxes.
it,
And he's like,
fill it in triplicate, and wait 3 to
yes,
5 business days.
this is what I like to this time. This is what I would like for my next order.
But for reals, like you can just like after it's done, you can set them aside and be like, I want to know, did you like how that felt? I think once you've removed yourself from the pressure of being in the moment,
Hmm.
it can be a lot easier to talk about it because we're in the moment, emotions can run high, you
Right.
know, miscommunication can happen, but at least after, if you don't feel like you can do that yet, you can pull them aside after and ask and just frame it as, I want to know what makes you feel good.
Hmm.
Um and I want to do a better job because I want to please you. And
Right.
and your pleasure is my pleasure. Like, if you frame it like in a really non-threatening way, uh
Your
I
pleasure
think
is my
most
pleasure. Give me more
because I feel
pleasure
like a
by
lot of
taking
people
pleasure.
approach it with like with some intensity. Some people approach it as like, "Am I pleasing you?" It's very self-centered. It's very, "Am
Right.
I doing this to you?"
Right. Right. Right.
But if you recenter them, like, so what makes you feel good? Did that feel good for you? What can I do to make it feel better? Whatever. Like if you're still focusing it on their pleasure, then it's a lot less threatening, and most people are receptive to that.
Right.
So that's my
Ano-
advice.
ano- Another really fun approach that you could take, a direct approach that you could take, especially if your partner is confident in or more of a dominant personality, is straight up have them dictate to you what to do, and that way you know for sure that whatever it is you're doing is pleasuring them. It's a lot of fun to just be bossed around in the bedroom, to just be for you to be just like a mindless slut in the bedroom and just like blank your brain and be like, yes, yes, master. It's fun. Try it. And then for sure, even if they don't say a word other than what they're dictating to you, you know they're loving what you're doing. All right.
We have
That
some
was fun.
suggestions from our customers.
Okay, let's get to those.
6 says G form na lang at the end.
Yeah,
You
the
know
form at the
what?
end.
I feel like if I ever have an orgy ever again,
G forms is the way to
I'm gonna
go.
have a feedback form.
I think Trisha already has one, or Kai has one. I think.
You send out a survey
Yep, yep.
with every new
Matt
partner.
says, and this is what Trisha was talking about after glow assessment talk. It's when you guys are like cuddling, you're both a little sweaty. One of you has a nose that smells like an asshole. I mean, hopefully. And you're like, yeah. So how was it? Talk to the orgy manager. Okay, so that was it for opening up. If you'd like to send us your anonymous questions or confessions, you can submit through our opening up form. See, we have that. We have a form for. And now, back to the discussion. Now we just finished on the discussion of gender roles in humans, in animals, and now it is time for the bit that all the vampires have been waiting for: menstruation. There are so many cultural myths surrounding menstruation in the human world. However, menstruation is quite rare in the animal kingdom, even amongst mammals. Other primates menstruate, though not as heavily as humans do, as do some species of bats and elephant shrews. That's it.
I am kind of mad that we got stuck with this one of the only species that bleeds as much as we do. I
I
would
know,
like to
what a raw deal.
complain. Who
What
do I
a raw
complain
deal.
to?
I think you'd have to start praying to send a complaint. Many other
Fuck
just
this
to
UI.
I got religious just to file a complaint with you. All right, you better listen up.
Like, dear God, 2.5 out of 5 stars. The UI is janky, not user friendly,
Well, if it makes you feel
very
any better,
messy.
Trisha, many other animals have menstrual cycles, but reabsorb the old womb lining rather than bleed it out. Does that sound more appealing to you?
That sounds kind of metal.
Okay, yeah, it is kind of metal, actually. They have
So
aggressive
so not
fetus.
only do they not bleed, but they reabsorb their wombs.
Yeah, dude, they reabsorb their wombs and they have aggressive fetuses, feti,
Okay,
if there's
maybe
a
not
lot of
that.
them. In animals that menstruate, including humans, bleeding may be to prevent complications in that the tissue that is lost during menstruation is a mother's way of keeping the fetus in check. It's like an evolutionary balance. Your body is more evolved, so it checks itself before it riggedy wrecks itself, Trisha. Uh, in, a- wait, in animals that bleed during there you go. In animals that bleed during pregnancy, the fetus digs deeply into a mom's uterus so it can have access to her blood supply, says Dr. Elizabeth Rowe. While this allows nutrients for the growing little creature, it can be bad for the mom. The problem with that is if you're a mother mammal, if you let a fetus just dig into your tissues willy-nilly, that could ultimately kill you, Rowe explains. A period acts as a preemptive strike of sorts to ensure that this doesn't happen. It's your body protecting you. You may not like it, but like a uterus has very mom energy. It's doing it for your benefit. You know what I mean? You may not like it, but it's for your own good. The
Fair
tissue,
enough. It's trying to protect you from invasive fetuses.
yeah. Yeah, it thinks it knows better, and you're like, please, I just want to watch TV. It's like, this is real good. Yeah. The tissue that is lost during menstruation forms something of a shield between the fetus and the mom. You don't see menstrual bleeding in species where they don't have an aggressive fetus, says Rowe. So there you go.
Why do they have to be aggressive?
Yeah. I don't know, man. The miracle of birth is miraculous, but it is also not a smooth journey. You know what's metal? You know what's metal? Getting pregnant. Getting pregnant is metal as shit. I was there for the whole thing, and that was the most metal thing I have ever seen. I have so much respect for Janine. I have so much respect for my partner because of what she went through, man. Like after that, there is nothing I could ever say, or I can't look weak in front of that woman ever. You know what I mean? I can never ever. I feel like I can never complain to her for the rest of my life. I can never come to her and be like, "Oh God, I'm so wiped out from work this week," and that. Because at any time, if she so chose, she could just, "Oh really? Did you push a football through your fucking vagina?" And I'd shut up. She never would because she's an angel, but she could, and I'd shut up. You know, so
And she
pregnancy is
wouldn't be
metal as hell.
wrong.
She wouldn't be wrong. No, she wouldn't.
Like I can't imagine that. And I take a lot of steps to ensure that I never have to.
Yeah.
Because it is metal AF and I cannot take it.
It is insane.
I'm tapping out already.
Okay, so that wraps up our episode. But before we close, we have we did promise that we'd get into some specifics, right? I have a few goodies. There's a reason that my name today is Sir Horny Attenborough. All right, it's because I got a couple of goodies about animals in the wild and their weird behaviors. Spotted hyenas. Okay, so we talked a little bit about spotted hyenas earlier. about how the females have pseudo penises and they're just like a very female centric society. But do you know just how Mad Max Welcome to Thunderdome the spotted hyena society truly is? A lot of animals turn our ideas of gender roles upside down, but the spotted hyenas takes it to the next extreme. Females are larger and far more aggressive than males, pretty typical in the animal kingdom, and even the lowest ranking female in the hierarchy ranks above the highest ranking male. Not so typical. This hierarchy is so strong that adult males are even scared of female cubs. And for good reasons, as females are typically violent towards males. But adult daughters show kindness towards their fathers by being less violent to them than to other males. Not non-violent, less violent. And it doesn't stop there. Female hyenas have pseudopenises, which we discussed earlier, that can get erect and are bigger and longer than some of the male's penises. Earlier we said 90% the size. Some of them can grow bigger than the male penises. The female pseudopenises make it very difficult for males to mate with them, and it makes rape among hyenas impossible. It's impossible for a male hyena to rape a female. There has never been a female hyena that's been raped by a male hyena. An erect penis in hyena society. Here's how low males are on the totem pole of hyena society. An erect penis is seen as a sign of weakness. So males will present their erections to females to show submission in the same way other animals expose their throats. Yeah.
Huh.
So if you
So
ever
while
wondered
we're
why,
necking,
yeah, they're
they're just showing their
dicking.
erect penises
Yeah.
to each
If you ever
other.
wondered why the three hyenas in The Lion King were female, that's why.
Huh.
Okay, so we have a couple other gender bendy animals here. The side-blotched lizard. Fun to say. Side-blotched lizards have 3 different types of males, which all use different tactics for mating. The orange-throated male is pumped with testosterone, and his main focus is to have huge territory and as many females as possible. This is the Chad male, right? He will protect the females, and he doesn't form strong or long-lasting bonds with any of them. He's like literally just there to screw. And he can beat the blue-throated male and take his territory. Who is this blue-throated male, you ask? I'm glad you asked, because the blue-throated male is a smaller male and has less testosterone than the yellow one. And he only has territory big enough for one female, with whom he forms a strong bond. Like the orange-throated male, he will protect her and try to fight off attackers until she's safe. Lastly, there's the yellow-throated male, who has no territory of his own, whose coloring closely resembles the females. He's like a sex hobo, all right? He looks like a female, and he lives in the outskirts of the orange-throated male's territory. He literally squats outside the Chad male's territory, where he sneak breeds with the females. Because the orange-throated male doesn't spend much time with the females only hang around for his territory and have no problem mating with other males. The female who has bonded with a blue-throated male, however, doesn't want to be unfaithful to him and will turn down yellow-throated males. So the females that get stuck with the middle male are not promiscuous.
Wow.
So they have a complicated.
So there are some monogamous lizards, but for the other lizards, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah. So yeah, Matt says something funny. There's a cuckold variant. See, so there are some females who choose to be monogamous and some males who are by default monogamous. And then there are males who are non-monogamous. They'll sleep with lots of different females, but because the females don't like being, hooked up with just the one dude, they will sleep with the scragglers, the ones who are just like hanging out, just like pop in and out just for sex. So it's like for them, it's like a game of rock, paper, scissors. Orange beats blue, blue beats yellow, and yellow beats orange. And so the sex cycle goes on and on. Let's see. We also got okay, this is the rough. This is the animal that actually inspired this episode, because the third kind of rough female wasn't discovered until about a decade ago. These guys have been coexisting for hundreds of thousands of years, and scientists didn't know that they were gay up until about 10 years ago. The rough has three types of males who are different from each other in both looks and behavior. The most common is the territorial male. So here we go again, who is stronger and more aggressive towards other males of his own kind. He spends most of his time fighting and displaying. Chad Rough. The next is the satellite male. Fun name. He doesn't have territory of his own, but he hangs around the territorial male's domain. Sneak breeding.
Scraggler again.
Yeah, so he's like on the outskirts, right? He's the what we would call beta males, right? The beta males. You're just like, yeah,
The cuckold
picking up
variant?
the cuckold variant. But the territorial male tolerates this because females are attracted to the presence of the satellite male. They get turned on. They get turned on by the fact that there's always another dude trying to get with them.
This actually
So-
sounds pretty correct.
So it makes them more receptive to his advances when they know that somebody else is trying to steal them away from him. Weird, right? I mean, they play mind games. These birds play mind games. Okay, then there's a third type. This is the coolest one. This is the one that was just discovered like a few years, maybe 2013, something like that. This one's called the fader. He is smaller than the other males, looks more feminine, and like the satellite male, has no territory. He also sneak breeds with females, but will just as happily let the other males mate with him. At first, people thought the other males confused the fader as a female, but closer studies of the fader topping other males should suggest that they are well aware of his sex. The strong territorial male allows him in his territory because the high amount of homosexual activity attracts the females. And males who have topped or been topped by a fader are more lucky with the females. The females in this species are incredibly promiscuous and always breed with all three types if they are available.
I relate
Ladies
to
and gentlemen,
this species.
the rough.
That gets turned on by other people desiring you. Check.
Yes. Dude,
Prefers topping men who've been topped by other men. Check.
Mhm. There, you found your spirit animal now, the
Yeah.
rough. Okay, I think we have time for a few more. You're gonna love if you like the rough, you're gonna love this one. Okay, the whiptail lizard. In some whiptail lizard species, males don't exist. That's your
There's
ideal
just no
world.
males.
Yeah, and females reproduce asexually by laying eggs that hatch into offspring, which are identical clones of their mothers. Imagine not having to worry about whether it's going to be different from you, have the same interests. No, it's literally a little you. And you're thinking, like, what's the fun in that? Where's the fun in that? If we can just reproduce asexually, you're just taking the joy out of sex. Wait, my friend. Nature finds a way. One would think this is an advantage because they don't have to find a mate to reproduce. But oddly enough, having another female to simulate intercourse helps with egg production. So these females that don't need men to asexually reproduce get it on with each other anyway. Yeah. Yeah. The only time that there is any evolution in these species is on the rare occasion that one of the females feels like trying something different and crossbreeds with a male from another whiptail species.
I like how it's like, I'm bored. I'm bored of all
Try a little something different. Yeah.
I'll try something different. And it evolves.
Yep.
Evolves the entire species.
Creates a new creature altogether. And last but not least, I think it would not be right without mentioning this one, because I think a hot topic right now is that being transgender is not natural, right? It's not natural to transition from one thing to another. Well, I will have you know that it's not just one, not just two, not just three, but an entire group of animals that are naturally transgender. They fall under reef fish. In a lot of reef fish species, all members are born the same sex, kind of like humans. When we're fetuses, we start out as all the same sex until our chromosomes do something. I'm not scientific about that bit. They group together, and the strongest or biggest change into the opposite sex. This is quite convenient because in this way, no one has to fight over females or males, and the leader can spend his or her time protecting the territory instead. In some species, the leader will breed with all the individuals in the group, and in others, this right is reserved for the next strongest member. Should the leader die, the next strongest will change sex and become the new leader. For a reef fish, it is unusual to stay the same sex all their lives. And I think it's just a beautiful thing to end on, that the strongest changes their sex to take care of the rest. So uh,
Oh.
those are animals that make you say, "Is that normal?"
I hope so. Some of those were nice.
Yeah.
Some of those are great, actually. Some of those we need to adopt. So, which one was your favorite?
uh, my favorite was the roughs. Definitely the roughs. Because I read that a long time ago, man. I read that on like 4chan a long time ago, and I was like, this could not be a real thing. And then I tracked down the comic for today's episode, and that's where I got all those other fun facts about the different animals. Super fun.
My favorite one are the hyenas because obviously we have femdom hyenas.
The hyenas with the penises, yes.
Yeah, with strap-ons, just hanging out there, threatening all the males.
Oh wait, I forgot to talk about the bonobo facts. The bonobo. I had
Oh,
an
okay.
extra
We got some
bonobo
time
fact.
for some bonobo facts. We
Okay,
always have
press
time.
yes. Okay, so chimpanzees and bonobos are the closest relatives of humans, as Trisha mentioned earlier, and are closely related to one another. Though the two species share a lot of traits when it comes to sex, they do things very, very differently. In chimpanzee society, the biggest and strongest males rule. In bonobo society, though the females are physically weaker than the males, they work together, allowing them to rule the males and control them using sex. In general, everything is an excuse for sex in bonobo society, especially when tension is high. For example, if two males want the same female, instead of fighting, they'll have sex with each other, which eases the tension and reinforces their friendship. If a female hits a baby, the mother will chase her, but afterwards they will rub their clits together to make up. If a male starts getting aggressive, a female will grab him and give him a quickie to make him relax. While
They sound like
chimpanzees
they have it figured out.
They do. They do. They were like the ancient Romans, but more civilized. While chimpanzees exhibit sexual taboos and social restrictions like humans, there's practically no such thing for bonobos, where sex is very casual. Everything goes in all combinations, and bonobo society is one of the most peaceful societies because of it. They literally live by the motto, make love, not war.
You should have
Bonobos.
just been a bonobo. Now that is an animal I relate to.
Well, then maybe try to live a shittier human being, and you'll get reincarnated down as a bonobo
No, I think I have to be an excellent human being
to
to
get
earn the
reincarnated
privilege
up.
of becoming a bonobo.
Yeah,
See, now you can
all
just
the
have
bonobos you
sex.
see, they were all just like Buddhist monks in past
Excellent
lives. All
people,
the,
just like
yep.
the best people.
Mother Teresa is a bonobo now.
No, she was a terrible person.
Okay, then Gandhi is a bonobo now.
Didn't he
Also a
sleep
terrible
naked
person.
next to young girls?
All right. Him.
See, even
what was the
nobody
name of that?
deserves to be a bonobo. That's how excellent you have to be.
Harambe is now a bonobo. He was once a
Alright,
gorilla,
yeah.
now a bonobo.
He can live his best life.
Yep. And I guess that wraps up our episode. Masahol Hayop, Sex and Nature.
Awesome.
What did you learn, Trisha? Did you learn anything?
I learned that we're doing it one way. We're
That's a
doing
good
it
way to put it.
one way, and I feel like there's so many ways to do it. You know, like even amongst species, they can't even agree how things work. Like there's
Right.
like different categories per species, and yet with us, we're just trying to do it one way and call everything else unnatural. When what is natural? Even when you look around, everything around you is crazy.
I think the main
Everything
thing that
is
I
just
learned
horny around
is,
you.
yeah, dude. Everybody's just trying to fuck. Everybody's
Yeah.
just trying to get
Especially
it on. but-
bonobos.
especially bonobos and roughs. But I think that we should just stop using the whole "it's not natural" argument anymore. I think that this episode, more than anything, has proven that you can't use nature as a guide, because if you do, then your argument starts falling apart for a lot of stuff, man. For a lot of stuff. There's a reason we can't keep using "it's not natural" as an excuse for things. A lot of the things you do on a daily basis aren't natural. Toothpaste isn't natural. Wiping your ass isn't natural. A lot of things aren't natural, dude. So I guess that's it.
Podcasts. The
Podcasts
most
ain't
natural
natural.
thing on earth.
Okay, so
Biological inevitable.
Trisha, do you have any socials to promote?
Yes, my Twitter at Trisha O'Bannon. We're also having our monthly meetup for Ethical Non-Monogamy Philippines next Friday. Tama ba? Yes, next Friday, November 5. So if you want to hang out with some poly folks, and yeah, just chill, please sign up at Ethical Non-Monogamy Philippines. That's our Facebook group. I'll leave a link in the comments. Yeah, that's it for me.
All right, I just have my Instagram to promote. It's Jobim Javier. I am on Instagram. I don't use it, but follow me anyway. I like it when the little number at the top of my thingy goes up by one. It gives me rush of adrenaline. More followers, yes. That's it, I guess. Stay updated with Now Open by following us on Facebook and Twitter at NowOpenPH. Our past episodes are also available on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to our coffee page. That's www.code-feed.com/NowOpenPH to get bonus content and other special perks. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, we'll be migrating over to Now Open's Gather Town after the end of the show. Join us at bit.ly/NowOpenTown to chill with the crew and other customers. Next week, we're going to be uncovering the noodles, sending noodles. It's about send nudes, the art of sexy pics. We'll see you when we next open.
That was a great outro. Send nudes.